Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melder Production, and today I thought I'd go over someone's request. They asked me to show how to make an electric piano sound that's kind of gritty and lo-fi and do it in MPowersynth. So it's very specific, but I thought I'll do it. So I have MPowersynth here. Usually I do things in M Sound Factory, but MPowersynth is actually a really cool synthesizer. So I thought I'd show you how to do it in this. I'm going to break this video into two different parts just because it takes a while to show the different things. So in this one, I'm going to show you how to make the electric piano sound. And in the second part, I'll show you how to make it Wi-Fi. But this is the finished sound. Sounds like this. So hopefully you can hear those kind of like pops and crackles and noise and everything like that. In the effects part of the video, or in the second part of the video series, I'll show you how to do that. But let's get on to the electric piano part. So start here with just a default MPowersynth here. So I'm just going to take the attack down to 0, the sustain all the way up. We're going to change that in a second, but let's just stick with it for now. Make sure your filter's off. Definitely want to do that. And make sure your effects are off. We don't need that for now. Just have oscillator 1 on now. We're going to go in here, and it doesn't matter if it's on normal or harmonics. We're going to go into the presets here, and we're going to choose something out of here. So you see here it says keys. Just make sure you're on that. And then we're going to go through some of these presets. So in this, you can see the different harmonics for it, and it just has different electric piano sounds. So by default, it sounds like this, a sine wave. Let's check out some of these different sounds here. You can choose whichever one you want. I don't want to go through all of these because it'll take a while, but let's just choose the first one here. This isn't my favorite, but what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of just transform the sound. Before we do that, I'm going to do something here in the advanced settings just to make it easier for myself because I can't play keyboard that well. And it'll also help the sound too in the end. So we're going to take this velocity shape. As I have it now, if I hit something very lightly, you'll see. You can barely even hear that. So let's move this up around here. Okay, so now even when I'm hitting it lightly, you can still hear it. And there's not that much difference between the hardest hits and the lightest. And that's what I want, because what I'm going to do next is going to add some more dynamics. Next thing we want to do is just go back into here in the globals. I know I had the sustain up, but we're going to turn it all the way down here. And let's set the decay. I think maybe around 3 seconds. I don't know how long exactly an electric piano decays, but I think 3 seconds is pretty good. However, this linear decay doesn't sound so natural, so let's move this down to like negative 50% to create an exponential decay curve. I don't know, is it exponential or inverse exponential? I don't know. So let's hear that. That sounded close enough. Of course, you can extend that or make that shorter depending on your own personal taste, but that's enough of this for now. The next thing we want to do is go into the filter here. We're going to turn this on. Now what I want to do is just first turn down the resonance. I think around 30 is good, but you can kind of set that to taste. I like to use a 24 decibel per octave low pass filter here, like this. And it's on 0 now, so it's going to sound like this. I actually kind of like that. It's kind of smooth. But what we need to do is we need to make it so it's velocity sensitive. So when I hit it really hard, it kind of opens up, but if I hit it softly, it doesn't. So here where it says by velocity, we're just going to mess with the frequency here. I think about 2 is good. And you see that kind of like affects the dynamics of it too. So that's why I turn down the velocity inside the advanced settings. Sorry, I can't play keyboards. Another thing I like to do is do this frequency per note. So that way, as I move up higher, it doesn't open quite as much. If I move it like this, it's even more extreme the higher I move up. But I want it to do a little bit less, so I move it into the negative, maybe negative octave. And then I can move this up more, maybe around 3 or so. And of course, we can also add some drive or saturation here if we want, but for me, I think this is good. We're going to add some saturation later with the effects, but for now, I'll leave this as it is. Now let's go into the effects. One of the first things I want to do is just add kind of a little bit of reverb for this. I'm not going to do lots of effects for this, but just adding a little bit I think makes it sound better, like this. I think this is starting to sound right. Let's hear it with this pattern. I think it's sounding pretty good. Now, of course, there's things you can change with this. One thing is if you feel like, you know what, I'm just not getting enough like bass out of this, we can go to this one here, go to normal, and just mix this in. Now you get more like kind of bass or fundamental there, not really bass, it's fundamental of the note, but it's not really as strong as it could be. And the reason is because of phase cancellation. So if you look at oscillator 1 here, like, wait a second, the phase is almost 50%, which means this is kind of out of phase. There's a trick to doing it, but you can also go in here and go like this, set this, and move it. I think around 50%, that's giving me the most bass. And then you can use this wet dry to increase or decrease it. Like that. Of course, you can also just go in here and choose a different, different preset here. But let's just stick with what we had before. Cool. Let me turn the volume down just a little bit here in case it gets louder. And let's just do one more thing, and that is let's add a little bit of like key click to this. So what I'm going to do is a little bit strange, but hang in there with me. We're going to go in here and we're going to use MPowersynth. You might be like, what is this? And it's like, oh, I got another MPowersynth inside MPowersynth, but like, yes, you actually do. So we can just click here, pop it out, and we have another one here. What I'm going to do with this is just turn the attack down. Let's turn the sustain down too, and just like a short decay like this. What we're going to do here is just turn off this oscillator 1, go into the noise here, and we just have white noise. I'll turn this HP filter off too. Sounds like this. So that's good, but it doesn't really sound like a key click. So what I want to do is go into the filter like this. Well, I can leave the resonance up for now. Maybe change it to 24. I'll turn it down a little bit. Here we go. I'll set this attack here to 0. Set the sustain to 0, and then maybe around like between 20 and 5. Let's try 15 at first. And then we're going to use this. Let's move it up like maybe 2 octaves or so. Actually, I probably want this constant because I don't want it to change depending on which key I hit. So let's set it to constant. Let's hear how this sounds. I can barely hear it myself. I got to turn the volume up here. To me, that sounded like a click. The problem here is it's in stereo, so turn this width in the noise to 0. Now I can mess with this here. I can go in here if I want to change this constant to high pass filter. Turn the 24, turn this down. So this is going to be the sound of keys clicking. I can do the same thing I did here with the velocity as well. Now all I'm going to do is just blend these together. I'm going to use a mixer here, like this. Input 1, input 2. Make sure I use steel input so it doesn't go out here, like that. And then we can just blend these. So input 2 is going to be our key click. I think the key click may be a little too much treble. Bring this down. Now I'm mixing this a little bit high just so you can hear it, but you can of course do whatever you want. It just gives it a little bit of definition. And let's hear it one more time. Now you can put as much or as little of that in as you want, but I think that's sounding like a pretty decent electric piano. Remember some of those other things too about like changing the oscillator to sit however you like. You can get whatever sound you want out of it, and of course you can put whatever other effects you want on here. Like sometimes you might want, I don't know, phaser or something. Let me see if I can have good, easy, simple phaser preset here. See if this sounds good. Okay. You can put chorus on there, whatever you want. But hopefully this gave you an idea of what you can do to create an electric piano sound in MPowersynth. In the next video, I'll show you how you can add the effects so you can get it lo-fi like this. So I'll show you how to get that wobble. I'll show you how to distort it a bit, and get some of those pops and clicks and noises and everything in there. Okay, so be sure to tune in for that. Make sure you're subscribed. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. Leave me any questions or comments down below, and be sure to check out all the other plugins at melderproduction.com. Till next time, see you.